Welcome home, Raiders. Tonight, BlizzCon gear, anyone? Yes, please. We'll have that and all the news that's fit to print. If we were a newspaper, it would be great, but we're not. Convert to Raid presents the Battlenet News. The Battlenet News broadcast bunker in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is October 17th, 2017, and it is now 10:10 in the p.m. Central Time. And thank you so much for joining us from all around the Blizzard universe. And hello, my name is Pat Crane. I'm your host of this show. And as always, the players are here. And let's start with, we'll start with the guy from Lords of the Storm, a podcast about Heroes of the Storm. It's Gizmo!
16 hours, 16 days. I already messed that up. 3 hours, 48 minutes, and 31 seconds till BlizzCon.
Until opening ceremonies?
I think. I don't know. I didn't look that far into
Way
it.
To go.
It's just,
Way
too
to
many
go.
questions.
Right on. I'm still super psyched, don't get me wrong. All right, let's go from Lagging Balls, a podcast about World of Warcraft and so much more on other Blizzard games. It's Thyst! Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back on the show. I just want to apologize for whatever may have happened or not happened on the last show.
And whatever may happen on this show. I mean, might as well just go forward.
And also that
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure. No need to be sorry whatsoever. And also from a bunch of different podcasts that I'm sure that we'll be talking about throughout the show, throughout the entire show. It's John Horstman. Hello, welcome back.
So it is pronounced Thyst. Okay, I've actually never officially met Thyst in person.
Thyst,
or over
John,
that show.
John, Thyst.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. Or it rhymes with fist.
Right.
As in like Doom Fist or
Doom
Boulder Fist or...
that'd be a really
so
good...
Doom Thyst would be your
Doom
Overwatch
Fist.
name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I get
Essentially.
it.
That's perfect.
I get it.
Yeah,
That's
you wouldn't
good.
want to meet me in a dark alley.
No.
Or any alley.
Yeah, just in general.
Or even
Yeah.
a fully
Or
lighted
well-lit
one.
or
Fully
mildly
lit.
lit
It's
alley.
fine.
Yeah. Like the alley behind Chili's? Nuh-uh. No, my friend.
Oh, you never
Watch
want to
out.
be. You never want to be in that alley anyway. It's behind Chili's.
That's true,
I mean,
yes.
Come on. Oosh. Oosh. Well, welcome, guys, and welcome to the chat room, and welcome to you guys out there listening to us from around the world of Warcraft. Let's talk a little bit about. So we're getting ready for BlizzCon. I know everybody's getting ready for it, and even the guys that aren't going. We're all getting sick with the BlizzCon talk, right? It's just
Sick?
all. Well, I mean, in a good way, in the best way. The best way possible. And really, I'm getting super psyched for the CTR party, which is coming up. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Let's do Gizmo's thing. So it's 2 weeks, 4 days.
2 hours.
And then it would start right around now. So it's all good.
2 weeks?
2 weeks and some days. Yeah. On the Friday of BlizzCon. So I'm getting super psyched for that.
Are you guys gonna have that kiddie pool full of Jell-O again this year, or?
We've never had that.
Oh, was that a rumor? Okay.
We've never had that. It was. I think somebody wanted it, but we put the. Actually, no. It was the Hilton said we couldn't do it because reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All sorts
I
of
didn't mean to
reasons.
bring it up.
So
Yeah, we were actually going to have it like in the Hilton lobby, have this big stage, but they decided that space was going to be used for the really convenient DJ to be blasting music
Oh, that guy.
while people tried to talk. So
Yeah,
Right.
that guy.
Right.
He was great.
Yep.
Remember all those great songs he played? Because I don't.
Nope. Nobody does. Actually, it was funny because so the DJ is new over at the Hilton, relatively, right? He was there last year, and was he there the year before? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was the last 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think so.
last year, did they? I don't think they had him actually in the lobby. I think they finally moved him into that back corner room.
No, they did
they
have him in the lobby.
Or
Definitely.
maybe it was one night, and
They
then the
should
other
keep
night they
moving
moved
him.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that there was a DJ
It's not the DJ's fault, guys.
No,
No,
it's
it's not.
Mad
It's
at
not.
the DJ.
No.
It's not. It's not. We're not mad at the DJ.
He was bumping fat beats, okay? It was
He was-
great DJ music. Just
He was
Turned up.
okay. It's just, when I go to BlizzCon, I just want to chat with my buds that I don't normally get to see in person. So that's what I'm all about. I'm not about the DJ music.
Yeah, instead it's like trying to communicate with your team if you ever play CSGO, where there's like one 6-year-old blaring loud music and you're trying to talk. It's the exact same experience.
Okay.
yeah, I do
Why am I
that from
playing
time to
Cisco?
time. Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm the guy who turns on the World of Warcraft voice chat.
Oh, nice.
And for the other 4 people who are on the server who don't know how to turn it off,
Nice.
they get to hear Maria He.
Mm-hmm.
What
Oh,
was
yeah,
that song called? Do you
Uh,
remember
Numa.
that? What was it?
The Numa guy.
Yeah.
The Numa guy.
right.
I wonder if he's still
video.
alive.
Yeah, I wonder how he's doing.
The world may never know.
I mean, let's be hopeful. I mean,
I hope he's still alive,
Right,
but
sure.
I wonder.
sure. We haven't heard from him since, as far as I know.
Exactly.
So I know I haven't heard from him. He never called me again.
Well,
Nope. So anyway, we're talking about all things BlizzCon and especially the CTR party. And just as a reminder for those guys, I think this is going to be the last week for if you want to actually get those CTR embroidered patches that we made. So there's a CTR show logo, and then there's the CTR guild logo, and we've got 2 different styles, and if you buy them together, you get a little discount. So there's that. And then there's also those adult style coloring books, not adult themed coloring books. Those are also available on the same site. So you go to convertraid.etsy.com and you'll be able to get them, I think, through the weekend anyway. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to call it on that, but it'll be before our next show. So this is the absolute last week that you can get those online. And then I think we may have them on site as well. So depending on how many we have left. Depends. So there is that. Got that little announcement out of the way. And John, I know that you have an announcement as well, but I want to first say I'm really bummed that I'm not going to be there with you.
I'm so disappointed.
I know.
I'm so.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just so upset about it. I've been telling Katie about it all week, but TwitchCon is this weekend, and if you were there, I was there last year, and I will be there again this year. And I'm actually going to be moderating a panel about podcasting on Twitch, and it was going to be myself, Pat, and Chanman V, who does a couple of amazing Blizzard podcasts.
Hearthstone and Overwatch stuff. I mean, it's
Hearthstone
really
and
great.
Overwatch specifically. Really amazing. Brings in thousands of viewers every time they do it.
And he's a
so
super
good.
nice guy. He's awesome. So I'm bummed.
Yeah. You guys met at BlizzCon last year.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
It was at the Con Before the Storm thing. I was hanging out. I remember that.
Yes.
And so, but we will be doing the panel, filling in for Pat. There's no one who can exactly fill Pat's shoes. We did get this little known podcaster,
Independent
named,
guy.
small indie dude, Total Biscuit.
Yeah.
And so he will be joining us totally last minute. I'm so nervous now. But we will be, I'll be like, hey, my name is Kick Tripod. I'm moderating this panel. And by moderating it, I mean, I'm handing the microphone to Total Biscuit. That's
Right.
the best moderating I can do. So that's going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific time at the PJ Sugar Theater. I believe it'll be twitch.tv/PJ Sugar. And definitely come check it out, especially if you like good laughs and learning about podcasting. We're going to be talking about tech, networking, show mapping. It's going to be a really great time.
Yep, and I'm super bummed that I'm not going to be there. It's really hard to not think about all the people that are being affected by those California fires, and my trip being canceled, it pales in comparison to all that stuff. So I'm, that's horrible stuff and ick. But yeah, I tried to rework the trip, and everything was just a big pain in the old butt. So couldn't make it happen. It was no good. So good luck at TwitchCon. And once again, that's twitch.tv/PJ Sugar.
I believe so.
And that's going to be at noon on Saturday. I'll definitely be
tweeting it out. So follow me, twitter.com/kicktripod, and I'll make sure to tweet it out and let people know.
Okay, cool. Oh, hey, guys, check this out. And if you're watching the video, you'll kind of understand. So this last weekend, we were actually doing the Kickstarter party to put together all of the goodies for all the people that, pitched into the Kickstarter, right? And I'm actually wearing one of the things right now. I'm wearing the long sleeve, here, you can kind of see it a little bit, long sleeve t-shirt hoodie, and it's so super soft. I love this thing. So good.
It looks really good on you, Pat.
Thanks a lot.
I'm sure it would look good on anybody.
Absolutely. But it's only for Kickstarters. It's only for the Kickstart crew. And we'll have limited availability, super limited availability at the party, but
it's also got the black and orange theme for
Halloween. Yeah, it's got the Halloween thing going on. Right.
Way to play to that vibe.
I know.
Very good. Whoever's handling your marketing there,
it's it's early November, which is basically late October. So I mean, it's coming off of Halloween. It'll be fun. It'll be good.
Halloween lights don't have to go down until what, the week before Thanksgiving,
or just never.
I think the week before Christmas. Anyway,
okay. Go straight from Goals and Goose to Santa Claus and elves. All right.
Yep. But I'm super psyched this year. We've got such great loot, and we're gonna have like this prize wheel, and you can come and win prizes at the CTR party. It's gonna be great. I was just kind of like looking over the schedule. So Con Before the Storm, I'm gonna be there on Thursday night. I think all of you guys are gonna be there on Thursday night. Con Before the Storm, and then hopefully all of you guys are coming to the CTR party as well. I'm gonna hang out and have some fun over there. And then Saturday, don't forget, I will be a part of the Instance panel. I still can't really believe that, which is going to be live on the Epic stage inside BlizzCon with Scott Johnson and Patrick Beja.
Yeah.
Beja.
I'm going to call him that next time I see him.
Pat sandwich.
Yes. Scott Johnson will be in a Pat sandwich. And
finally,
we were talking about what we needed to wear there. And Patrick Beja always wears a scarf because he's French or something.
Get him an American flag one.
And so I was talking with Scott, and I'm like going, well, we need to get like a 50-foot scarf, and we need to wrap it around each of us and just go out there like all together, all in one
Peanut
scarf.
Style. Yeah.
That would be great. So I started looking up 50-foot scarves.
I can talk to one of my old college professors. He holds the world record for the longest scarf knitted while running a marathon.
Whoa.
I don't know how long it is, but
I don't think
you really need to
specific college. I don't think it needs to be all that long. I mean, come on. But you got all that time. Why not? Speaking of BlizzCon, let's just jump right into the news. Oh, hold on. That was a little low, but here, I'll just do that again. There we go. Let's go to the news. And we're going to talk about BlizzCon first because there is still a bunch of news along that way. So one of the things was that the BlizzCon floor plan was released. Some people may not think that's very significant. I think that that those people are kind of full of it. I don't know.
They are.
I try to avoid spoilers for BlizzCon floor plans.
I like to wander around without knowing where I'm going and just.
I don't watch.
I like to explore like naturally and stuff. No, I want to know exactly where I'm going to go.
I want it to be a really organic experience.
So, Thyst, you seem to be very excited when I started talking about this. What is going on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just like look at this and like drink in all of the information that it's giving us? Most of all, the the giant World of Warcraft demo area. What are we demoing?
It's huge.
What are we demoing
Yes.
this year? You know why? Because there wasn't like a new class or a new race to play. But there's one this year. What is it?
Right. Okay, so the demo area is larger than every other demo area as well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
WoW too.
But
Yep.
not only that, there's an Overwatch demo,
Mhm.
a HOTS demo,
Mhm.
a Diablo demo,
Mhm.
this game that it supposedly doesn't have any information this year.
It's very, very small, though. I mean, to be fair,
It is.
it's
But
Like,
it's
just come play Diablo. It lets those Diablo players get their fix during BlizzCon.
the Diablo 3. The Diablo 3 demo area is actually smaller than the bathrooms that it's right next
It
to.
is.
So
But
I just let you. I mean, to
And the
put it in
line is
perspective,
shorter than the women's bathroom. Yeah.
yeah, that's probably true.
right?
I'm just saying it means something. It means like everybody's expecting WoW to announce an expansion. But like what else? What are we going to demo? Because we certainly couldn't demo the expansion, could we?
No, we've never
Gosh,
done
you-
that before, have we?
No.
No,
Have they not?
Warlords. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it happened all the
I
time.
was gonna say, yeah, we have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a new expansion. You're right. It has been a while since we've gotten a new race, right?
Yep.
Miss-
So it's been a while since we got a new race, and not a new class because we got demon hunters, obviously. But I don't know. I want to be like, oh, we're gonna get something new and amazing, but I do think expansions are new and amazing. I think that's what it's going to end up being. It's just
Sure.
a new expansion.
Yeah.
But we can speculate away. I'm all for WoW 2. I'm ready.
You're ready for WoW 2?
Mhm.
I'm ready.
I don't think they need
Ready
to
see
do
what
it.
the boys have been cooking.
I don't think,
Yeah.
coming off of Legion, I really don't think that they need to do that at all. They just need to like
I agree.
tighten up a couple of things, get rid of legendaries because Sharku says, and that's about it. I mean, that would be. I think they've really kind of come along in this last expansion. They've really done a very good job, better than they've done in the last two expansions for sure on continuous
100%.
content. And
Yeah, this is a very secure foundation for
Yeah.
any expansion to take off from. So, like,
Right.
if it was a new race, which I hope, or a new class, and we're going to demo it, sign me up because that's what I'm most excited about. That's where my eye went when they released the floor plans. So,
right. And John, you probably actually went to the Overwatch arena and were like, "Oh my, that looks good. That looks like a nice area."
It looks large and in charge. It's like three. It's like 3 WoW demo areas. No, just kidding.
It is,
but yeah, it's huge and it's going to be awesome. And I'm actually sitting down with Ryan Musselman. He's the COO of Optic Gaming
Mhm.
tomorrow morning. So
Cool.
I will have already sat down by the time people actually listen to this on the audio feeds, talking about Overwatch League, and the players signing window for Overwatch League ends on October 30th,
Right.
which is, very conveniently the week before BlizzCon. So I wonder if we won't see some Overwatch League show matches and some of those gaps on the Overwatch stage. So
Sure.
I'm really excited. It's going to be really cool.
I would think that they would. I would think that they would show off all the teams. I know that we're going to talk about teams later for Overwatch League and stuff like that, because I mean, I'm sure that all of these teams are like, okay, we need to get our names going and get all the marketing stuff going so that we can maybe have some stuff at BlizzCons for people to actually, purchase and enjoy, right?
Yeah, we've got 3 franchises now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yep, 3.
And
I was going to say, there is some actually good information on this arena looking at the map.
What
Other
do
than
you-
just Overwatch is in there. So if you've been to the StarCraft stuff before, they only used like maybe 2/3 of the arena, maybe even half, because the stage was on one side.
right.
Looking at this, looks like it's going to be in the middle, much like, I don't know, Dota does it. I didn't watch the Overwatch stuff
was-
last year, so I don't know if it surrounded the stage. but that's going to open up a ton more seating,
Yeah.
which I think should resolve some of the fears I had about if it was the same as StarCraft, the lines.
Right.
Oh,
So that
yeah,
should get
yeah.
a lot more people in there,
So
which is cool.
last year they were in the round as well, weren't they, John? Were they?
No.
I'm trying to remember what the stage was like for Overwatch
The stage
last year.
is like a semicircle.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah, the stage was at the semicircle.
It wasn't totally in the round.
Where,
Got it.
yeah, where I think it was C. I think it was where section C was,
Yep.
where
Yeah.
the WoW stage is this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Hearthstone next to that, and then WoW at the end, and then StarCraft was in the bowl.
You know what they need? You know what they need for that Overwatch arena, though. Not only
What?
do they need to have it in the round like it looks like it's going to be, right? But then what they need to do is they need to spin the stage ever so slowly, just the entire time.
So they did have that for the analyst desk when they did the thing on TBS.
Okay.
They did. I think it was the Overwatch Open. They had a spinning analyst desk, and the analysts didn't know it. So when they went to the first game and they started spinning the thing, they all freaked out on live television on cable. And I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, this is why esports is not going to cable
That's awesome.
anytime soon.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
Right. Also, there's actually quite a sizable Hearthstone area in the North Hall on level 1. So they're going to have, not only are they going to have a Hearthstone demo, which is it seems like it's not really a huge area, but there's also going to be the tournament stage and the tavern kind of all in the same area. So they're really packing them all into one area. So
I think they're really maximizing on the interpersonalness of kind of what made the tavern really great last year. Katie and I both, we weren't huge Linkin Park fans, except back in my 7th grade youth group days. And so we were just kind of hanging out at the tavern, and we knew some Hearthstone devs and other people that were meeting up there, and they have like big TVs and drinks and
it's really
play
great.
a dev all up there. It's really great. And to have that all so close together, because last year you had the Hearthstone tournament down in like B, and then in the North Hall you had
And then
like
it was
the
all the way-
tavern, and then nothing. It was
all
right
the way
next to
up
where
and
like
over,
interviews
and yeah,
were. It was
it
just
was-
really far. Getting it all really close together, I think, is an awesome idea. And if there's not Overwatch esports being played, probably going to be hanging out in the Hearthstone area.
I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, they're just organizing it so much better, and you know, the Dark Moon Fair is going to be in an area where there's actually a couple of different stages, so there's always something going on. The community stage is over there, and the legendary stage, which I'm not sure exactly who or what is going to be there. I can't remember the schedule, but and the Dark Moon Fair promises to be bigger and better than ever. And then you have all the toy stuff and the pet stuff and the blah 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 and the pin trading and the whatever. So all that
I'm
stuff
still
is
terrified of that room, Pat. I'm still terrified.
Of-
I went
of the
there
Dark Moon
last
Fair?
year. Yeah, I was just
Okay.
I've got like people coming up and be like, "Want any pins?" I'm like,
yeah.
no, man. I'm just trying to
I'm
find
just-
where the
I'm just hanging out,
bathroom
man.
is.
I'm just hanging out.
Yeah, just you. He's like, "I'll give you 4 of these," and I'm like, God, no, no, I don't know. They're like, they're so serious about their pins in that room.
I'll be
Yes.
pin trading those CTR pins, the ones that we got for the Kickstarter.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. All the
Setting
extras,
the
I'll just
currency basis.
have 'em.
I like it.
yeah, exactly. Patches and pins. That's what I got. So for giving away, I don't know. I don't know what I have. What else can we glean from this map? Anything here, guys? I mean, I know the layout looks really sweet. It looks very distinct. Yes. All these.
Are you
different
at the
areas.
heroic stage or the legendary stage?
The
Or
epic
mythic
stage. So the epic stage is going to be by the Dark Moon Fair, but I guess from my understanding, there's plenty of seating there for a few hundred people. So I'm kind of yeah. Thanks. So
You're welcome.
if you're listening to this show and you're there and you're like, go to BlizzCon and you're there on Saturday at what time is it? I think it's 11:15. Is that it? No,
11:30.
15, I think.
15?
Just make your way on up to the Epic stage. Just look for that instance panel, and please come join us because I need friendly faces in the crowd.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring some extra panties and bras to throw on the stage as well.
Wow.
Me too. I
Yeah,
only have
let's
4
get that
pair,
going.
but
And
I'm getting a couple more.
well,
I'm gonna
John,
get my CTR bra.
John, I'll meet you outside the door.
CT on
I
one
will,
and then R on the other. They're a little imbalanced.
Right.
I will escort you through the Dark Moon Fair.
Oh,
to get
Thank
to
you.
that
that,
stage.
that's
I'll
very
walk
nice.
with you through
Very
the
nice.
Dark Moon Fair.
That's very
I'm gonna
nice.
get a sign to put like a hat with a sign on top of it that says, "I don't want any of your pins. Back off." That's just what it's
Hey,
gonna
man.
say.
That's
Right.
insensitive to the pin culture.
I get, like, I totally understand why people are into the pins. I
Sure.
get it, and I respect that 110%.
They love the
But I am.
collectibles. They love them.
It's like when you walk into like a retail store and people won't stop asking you if you need help, and be like, I'm just trying to compare these 2 shades of beige. Which one's better for my complexion to wear to BlizzCon next week? I don't.
Right.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, we're beige.
Yep.
That would be
Beige.
great.
Beige.
So,
beige
I
is the color
see,
of BlizzCon 2016.
I see a potential new statue, a Junkrat statue.
Oh, yes. Yes, I saw that too, and I was wondering if that was new. I think it is. So
I think it is.
looks
And
like-
I was wondering if maybe that was the thing that was going to come out of the giant loot box, but it's those 2 things are completely opposite. Like they're on like completely different. Like Junkrat's like on the
Mhm.
floor, and the stage that the loot box thing is on.
All right.
So that's not it.
Okay. There is a new area as well this year, and it's called the Blizzard Diversity Meetup. And so at this Blizzard Diversity Meetup, they're going to be talking with people, and I think we've seen this before Overwatch, but especially after Overwatch came around, where Blizzard is really trying to develop inclusivity into all of their gaming and try to make sure that they're talking to a bunch of different people. And so that's what this is, to my understanding. And please tell me if I'm wrong here. But
It's kind of, sorry. It's just basically a meetup for people to come in and have group discussions about diversity in gaming, but also in the industry and within Blizzard itself, as far as like hiring goes. So, if you're interested in potentially working for Blizzard one day, or if you're just really, you've got a lot of feelings and you want to bake a cake full of rainbows and smiles and share and everybody eat and be happy, then that sounds like an amazing place to do it. And there's going to be devs there, and they're going to be sharing their probably intimate stories, and there's going to be probably a lot of women because Blizzard implemented trying to hire more qualified women this year and going forward and stuff. So I think checking out, even if you're not interested in working for Blizzard, even if you're not that deeply immersed in inclusivity and stuff like that, it would just be like really, really cool to see these devs that are going to be there and find out what they have to say about working at Blizz. So definitely check that out.
Right.
A really unique situation.
Yeah. And I'll have time because I'll be over in that neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
At least once. Probably more than once. So there's that. Also, just as a note, I know that this came in today. BlizzCon gear, all the gear for BlizzCon is now available to everyone. It's not just the guys with virtual ticket or a ticket. Now everybody can go in and get BlizzCon gear, and for that we say, because
good this year.
There's some
It
cool
is
stuff.
good.
There's some cool stuff. Now, Gizmo, you were saying before the show that you dropped way more than you probably wanted to.
I did. So Kevin Multizord, one of our co-hosts, was like, hey, I really want the water bottle. I was like, oh, you know what? I'll get it for you. And then I added a few more things to my cart, and I'm like, you know what? I'm super close to getting the merch pin that really is a little pin that is not worth the amount of money that I continued to put forward for it. But I did, and I got some cool stuff. But there's a ton of cool HGC stuff. I even got like the hats, the Overwatch League hat, or Overwatch World Cup hat. Sorry, is really neat. And the Heroes of the Storm hats are really neat. They just have a lot of cool shirts and hoodies and an Overwatch ugly Christmas sweater, which is amazing. And I just realized I didn't get that, and I might have to go do that now.
Oh boy.
I like the Pachimari t-shirt that you can get with all the little Pachimaris on it.
Mm-hmm. The snowball plushie.
Subtleties.
The snowball plushie. I mean, come on. That one's ridiculous.
The Winston Yeti slippers.
Oh yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff, and I watched the video that had a couple of people from the product team kind of showing all the different things, and I was like, "Yep, okay. If that just happened to fall into my lap somehow, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't cry.
Oh yeah,
wouldn't cry about any of that stuff." So
Blizzard merch is just
hoping that they give him some stuff to give away at the CTR party.
That would be great.
It just all ends up in his house.
That would be great. Yeah.
It's falling into my lap. It's just as it's falling into my lap, my wallet fell into their lap.
Right.
So, yeah.
Take all my money. That's what you said.
I just have a Blizzard credit card. My paycheck goes right to this credit card. That just goes right. They just give me stuff from the Blizzard store.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thyst, was there anything that you were particularly looking at on the store?
Yeah. I can't. They're like, hey, come to BlizzCon. I'm like, okay, cha-ching. And then they're like, hey, want to buy some stuff? And I'm like, yes, can't cha-ching anymore. But yeah, I've really got my eye on that really nice gray World of Warcraft sweater with just like the iconic W on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Jinx branded, so you know it's quality. Oh, yes. Quality.
Quality.
They've done a really good job. I've always had an issue because a lot of just like gamer gear and nerd gear is too much about the product and not enough about the style, if that makes any sense. And especially, I would say ever since they announced Overwatch, which was, 2 years ago, almost exactly, it has been just so on point, like the perfect amount of style and subtlety. And yes, you can still tell this is a World of Warcraft hoodie. I freaking love it.
Yeah. But you could wear it to work.
I have so many. The only thing I need is people to make less black t-shirts that are gaming stuff. I have so many black t-shirts.
You're right.
Overwatch League, Reinhardt, my filthy casual shirt, like my well met shirt. That's my fault. There are four.
You're part of the problem, John.
The shirts I wear the most are just black tees.
Yeah, I look in my drawer of gamer shirts, and it's like 75% of it all black.
Yep.
So
So you can never wear black sweatpants without being kind of just feeling a little weird.
Yeah, you could rob a bank.
Gray sweatpants, and then gosh,
and then you cause problems. All kinds of problems. All right.
Speaking then you're trying to game wearing your cool shirt and you're wiping your Dorito dust all over you and it shows off really well.
Right.
Let's start a fashion podcast. Let's do Blizzard fashion podcast.
Sure. How about we do that right after this? Because we're going to go to World of Warcraft.
Torment awaits.
Well, I don't know about that. So let's talk a little bit about this. Because it's something interesting that happens all the time. It's actually maybe not, it doesn't seem all that interesting, but I think this time it is. Blizzard has taken to remove some people that were cheating. Cheating!
What?
Cheaters!
Cheaters. Never happens.
That's right. So they have gone through and removed some people that were using some botting software and some other cheatery devices and such. People don't cheat. But that's not it, guys, because the thing that they sent out was it was very bland, right? I mean, they chose words that we've seen before. These people have used bots before, or these people have used bots and we're kicking them out and blah 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 blah. I mean, it's just very kind of boilerplate stuff. But I was talking to an unnamed source about some stuff. I don't know if they really were off the record or whatever, but
their mom should have given them a name.
But it was rude. A casual conversation, so I'm not going to say anything. All right, so I was talking to somebody, and they said that this was probably one of the most comprehensive passes that they've done in recent history anyway. And so I'm thinking this is good stuff. Because, I mean, it sounds like they kicked a lot of people that were doing all sorts of wrong stuff. So
that's so juicy. I love when Blizz does that. It's like, oh, you didn't read the terms of service? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you got to go. And they bring down the banhammer. That's so good. Love that sweet justice. Sweet Blizzard justice. Sorry.
Right.
Did you guys read the terms of service?
It's long.
You mean you didn't read it before
I was
you
gonna
signed it?
I've not read it. I'm just a decent human being, so I know that using programs that automate my clicks for me aren't very good, except for my Hearthstone bot that plays Face Shaman for me.
If you want
just kidding.
If you want something else to play the game for you, you're doing it wrong. This is the rule. This is the main rule that they say in the TOS. I'm pretty sure. I didn't read all of it, but I tried. I got like 3 words in and I said, I agree. I got like
well, you have
3
to
words
scroll to the bottom because you have to actually scroll to the bottom of it for the Blizzard one.
I know.
Which is already like you already feel super manipulated. I'm like, well, now I'm not like just I just hit agree. I'm like, no, I physically scrolled down because I knew they needed me to scroll down and then hit agree.
Trying to avoid situations like this, but you know, there's just those people who insist on paying for the game and insist on installing it on their computer and then insist on getting something else to play for them. Like,
Yep.
Well, and hopefully this will limit, you know, seeing those guys in PvP battlegrounds just like running into a wall and just keeping on running.
God,
and
those guys tilt me so hard.
Right. And all the farmers and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, it was the farming that really drove me nuts. I ground out 3 Valentine's days ago. I ground out 3 Swift Lovebirds, and I got through all 3 seasons at the time of the league and the first 3 seasons of How I Met Your Mother to grind those out. And I'm like, some dude has a thing where he's out there sitting by himself on his porch, obviously not with his significant other because he's a botter. And, you know,
he's even botting his personal relationships.
He's drinking his midnight mimosa or something. And
girls don't like botters. Just saying that.
Or guys.
Yeah, nobody likes botters.
Right.
Ladies, if you're botting or, you know, whoever, nobody's attracted to you.
No. That's a deal breaker.
You're not attractive, you botter.
Boy. All right. In other news, there was something pretty cool because we talk about Mione all the time because it goes around and solos really hard content. And over this last week, we had a video of her down in Gul'dan. So solo Gul'dan. So big applause for that. And this is so if you watch the video, it's in fast forward and you don't realize how long it took her.
Real long.
It took 1 hour and 9 minutes.
How many wipes? What's the wipe count? 509.
I don't know, but that is a long, long fight. So congratulations on just staying awake for it at the end, really.
I can't even do 1 hour and 9 minute convert to raid.
I know. We do.
Marathon podcast.
Right.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I wonder how many wipes she had and how much time went into this, because she said that the fight doesn't really even start until like 42 minutes in because she has to get past the Gul'dan enrages, can't take damage, which lasts like 30 minutes. So then the fight starts at 42 minutes. Yeah. I wonder how many times she got to like the fight just starting and then died and been like, well, gotta go see that again.
Probably one of the most patient and meticulous people on the planet. Like just watching and reading about like the way she prepares for these things and like does the math and then goes in there and just executes. Like, I respect that so much. I could never do that. Like, and that Gul'dan fight, like it's tough, you know?
There's ads and stuff like that like get bolstered from different, you know, buffs and stuff like that. So it just sounds all sorts of impossible.
Yeah, it's supposed to be impossible.
Doing
but
the
she
impossible
does it.
since Lich King. Really?
I just love when people do that.
Yeah.
I've always been really jealous of people, and the fact that she did that current content, it's I'm just at a loss. I'm like, here I am. I'm like, this is my Shadow Priest do enough damage. He's like, I am soloing Gul'dan over here. You can keep track of your cooldowns, young man.
So very, very cool.
My haste caps.
So very, very cool, and congratulations once again, because that stuff is just amazing. I like it. This week, by the way, is BC Timewalking, which means the Black Temple is available again.
Oh yes.
I'm only going to applaud myself. I'm not going to actually hit the button because you need a pre-made group of 10 to 30 people to get in there, and so
you're going to need about 2 hours.
And so your raid team is good to go in and all that kind of stuff. Drops 900 item level 900 loot, and so it's good to go. Thyst, did you do this with the group the last time that it was available? Okay.
Yep.
So you've done it.
It was beautiful and nostalgic. We brought a lot of other guildies because we needed more people, and a lot of them had never seen that content before. So it was kind of adorable to like experience it again through their eyes, I guess. And we went in not expecting to wipe on every boss because we're pretty good. We're very good raiders, but they've amped up the difficulty, and if anything, that made it more fun because you go through BT like every week for farming purposes and stuff, and it's whatever. But then you go in there and like you're used to just breezing through it, but you can't. And just because it requires so many people and so much time, it really just brings you back. And if you weren't playing back then, it'll just give you sort of a sense of what it was like back then, I guess. So I really recommend. It's really cool.
And it's only been available once so far, right?
Yes, this is the second time.
So
yeah, the week it came out, the first time was the first time I was on CTR.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, so it was kind of special.
Aw, that's so nice.
Isn't it?
Nice. Yep. I always like the time walking weeks anyway, because that means that I can grab my lobies and get some XP on them.
Yeah.
So
Some
definitely
EXP.
Some EXP or just regular XP,
What?
I don't remember if that was a conversation on this show last week, but somebody was really tilted by the term. I think it was a Heroes thing. One of the casters says EXP instead of XP, even though in game it literally says XP.
Yes. Yes.
So somebody's tilting really hard because of that.
Sounds like he needs some XP.
It's extra XP.
Battles, yeah.
It's extra XP. It's totally cool. Let's see. Let's move into a different game, unless you guys have something else. We also have the 15v15 brawl, which I hate.
Yes.
I hate it.
House.
I hate it so hard.
Pat, I'll take you. I'll protect you.
No,
You'll be
you
fine.
won't. No, nobody does.
He's the one that's supposed to protect. Isn't
I
he?
die first. This is the way that
3v3 car soccer is a little too crowded for Pat, let alone 15v15. Wow.
Right. 3v3 is just about right for car soccer.
Oh, sure.
It's totally cool for car soccer.
Not 4v4 though.
Here's what I do for 15v15. I suit up into my resto gear. I right before it goes, I hit Barkskin, and then 2 seconds later, I die. This is exactly what happens every single time that I've done it. So
go feral and then just go stealth, and then you won't be the first one to die.
That's what I was thinking about doing, actually.
You'll see everybody die. It'll be fine. But no, Packed House is awesome. It's completely chaotic, and it basically, in my experience, having only depends entirely on the ratio between people who are like aiming to do mechanics and do things properly versus people who are just there to mess around and die. So if you get one of those good groups, that like lucky group with like the ratio of people who want to succeed is higher, then you're good. But there's absolutely nothing you can do as an individual. You just kind of have to hope for the best and try your best.
Charge in and die. Just charge in and die.
Well, no, but Okay,
no,
just
that's
try
what
to
I
take
do.
a few people down with you at least.
All right.
Pat, you weren't listening at all, were you? That's exactly
there's
the
no need.
opposite
There's no
of
need.
what she said.
I know what's
You're
going
part of
on.
the problem, Pat.
That may be
I think you've been playing
true.
Here's
Alliance
what we're
too
gonna
long,
do.
honestly.
Just charge in and die. That's all Pat heard.
Charge in and just die right away. All right, we're gonna move it on to Overwatch.
Oh, this is my jam.
Yes, it is. So Overwatch. John, I'm gonna let you talk about this because it's kind of your thing. You have the Payload podcast and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I want you to talk about it.
Woo! All right, we hit some milestones this week, y'all.
Mhm.
First, Overwatch has crossed 35 million users.
And
This time last year it was 20 million.
right, that's pretty great.
That's
Awesome.
a lot of users.
That is a lot of users.
That's a lot of mercy mans, if I do say so myself.
They're probably not Mercy mains right now. They're trying to figure that stuff out. aren't they?
They're getting there.
Yeah.
They've had an emotional couple of weeks, Pat. They're not ready for the jokes. Okay, so
Too soon.
Sure.
so yeah, so that's the first. I might as well just segue right into now. We'll go to this next one. Then.
Okay.
So first of all, 35 million. Like Overwatch has shattered just about every record for time to a specific user milestone, and it's all because of online underage gambling. So
Right. Right.
it might be, I don't know.
This is the weirdest.
Allegedly.
This is the weirdest story, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, and this, if you followed like free to play games and other games that have had microtransactions in it, there's always been a cross section of players who have felt that, and there's definitely lots of precedents, especially like those mobile games where there's either, pay to play or pay to win and gambling and the RNG aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
and introducing that to players who are not of gambling age is taking advantage of certain demographics. And so in the British government, as you can tell, I'm very British. The
Right.
British government, they're considering legislation against loot boxes. Does it?
Rubbish.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. You have to pay. You have to get that voice line, by the way, from a loot box. So that's a very good,
Right.
a very good one to put in there.
Mhm.
Or for only $3,
So
tell you what, $5 you get an extra 2 skins. So yeah, it's all about kids and are they taking advantage of that? What is
Right.
gambling? And it's kind of weird, even though the ESRB does say that loot boxes aren't gambling.
well, and especially these ones. I mean, when you talk about other games, I mean, loot boxes that can be shared with others and whatever, and you can kind of trade and blah 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 blah. That's all cool, whatever. But Overwatch loot boxes are not like that. They're just there. They're just
Yeah, it's not like Steam games where you have, or it's just cosmetic stuff, but it's
Right.
not like Steam to where games literally come out and people are buying loot crates in game to try and get specific things to then sell on the marketplace for high value.
Yeah.
So there's
Does that
no
matter, though?
return in this.
Well, I mean, it could be. I mean,
That just
if there was
encourages buying more.
if there was a
to
market
try and get
for
big money off it.
if there was a market for the loot, then it might be considered gambling, or at least
Yeah.
Seeing
It's
what
Does-
kind of luck you have.
Does gambling only constitute getting something of monetary value back from
Oh,
it?
Not monetary value,
No.
but value.
Just value?
it's-
Because is that what constitutes
I would
gambling?
I would think
Because
so. I'm
then
not
this
sure
would fit that,
I'm not
right? 'Cause
sure-
it's just cosmetic.
I'm not sure the legal terminology, but from my perspective, it would be something
Yeah.
of value, and whether or not it's monetary or not, I don't know. But
I just don't understand. Like, this is not gambling.
no,
It's
Why not?
not like
It's not.
you're just earning
You're just-
something that's got stuff inside of it, and it's not even real.
right?
Yeah.
You know?
Random
Well,
stuff.
and is this whole legislation thing, is this rooting from Overwatch, or is it rooting
No.
from? Okay, yeah.
No,
it's
there's a
other stuff.
lot more, right? And, and
Yeah.
that's where like we start getting into a slippery slope fallacy a little bit, to where CS:GO I think is a great example where people open up items that are worth hundreds of dollars. The real money auction house in Diablo, right? Like, how is that not a version of gambling?
Right.
If you prescribe to, this is the same as going down to a roulette table, picking a number and spinning a wheel.
Yep.
But it gets very convoluted, because I would say with Overwatch and Hearthstone, they are the least gambly-y forms of gambling, if you will, right? Because they're randomized. You pay money, you get some stuff for free, but you pay money for randomized rewards. Some are worth more than other. This is in a perceptive value based on rarities that Blizzard codes into their loot boxes and games, right? So by a technical definition, I would assume that this would be very close to some form of gambling, just in the same way that going to an arcade and getting tickets is.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm thinking. Like, you're a kid and you can go to any dollar store and pay $1 for like a bag of random stuff inside, It's like basically the same thing. It's like, oh, I got stuff in here.
Doing the same thing with their patch expansion thing, where they're those expansion packs for the patches for the backpack. They have random 3 patches in a pack. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
It's like, is that all of a sudden gambling? Like, I don't think so.
It's not gambling, no. That's
I think especially for Blizzard titles, I don't think it is, especially because Diablo doesn't have the real market or real money auction house anymore, correct?
No, it doesn't.
So the closest thing that you have probably to being able to monetarily profit via systems in place by Blizzards, this excludes like leveling up a legendary Hearthstone account and selling it or whatever, would be the WoW token.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's the only thing in game that I can think of.
Yeah, everything else, you're not getting money out of it. You just get a Tracer skin of her, that with spray painting or whatever.
Right.
I just don't get it. I think it's too loose a use of gambling. But the argument is that it uses the same pleasure centers of the brain, and therefore that is. But
you know what else uses those pleasure centers?
Wow,
lots of stuff.
Now, I'll say that the Diablo marketplace and stuff aside, because I don't think that was gambling at all, because there's no chance in that. You are going on and spending money on something. You know what you're getting when you spend money on it. With the loot crates, you're spending money not knowing what you're getting. I think this is probably stemming from, like, because they say adults and children, more towards kids. Because I know people personally, and you can, say blame this on the parents or whatever. But kids, of some ages don't understand really the monetary value. They just know, hey, there's money. My parents have a card. I got this card on my account, and maybe my parents don't know that this card is saved on this account, and I can keep getting stuff and keep spending this and rack up a lot of debt without them knowing really quickly. And granted, again, you can blame that on the parents or whatever, but the legislation, I imagine, may see that as taking advantage of kids. And I'm not saying that is the game company's goal, but it is dangerous. And, if they want to do this to protect people, then I get it. But then that goes back into the lines of, what's gambling, what's not.
Yeah. And there's some kind of petition involved with this, isn't there? Like, they're looking for signatures to, whether or not it's going to be a legislation or not. And that's worrying, because like people are going to see, you can gamble in a video game. But they don't know that it's not actually gambling because they don't play the game. And I think people who don't play video games often hurt video games in that way, just because they're ignorant of what actually goes on, Like, they just want to protect the kids, but
But I also will say there are lots of examples in video games where the consumer is absolutely taken advantage of.
Sure.
Blizzard is not
one of them.
even in the top 1,000 list of companies doing that. But just recently in China, they passed legislation. I think it's China. It's China or South Korea. They passed legislation where you have to publicize the percentage chances for any of those random roll rewards, like Hearthstone packs, loot boxes, loot crates. And I think that type of transparency is good for the consumer. And I think that type of legislation where, maybe down the road saying, I have to reread the full article. I was a little sleepy when I read it earlier, but generally speaking, right, this isn't necessarily, and we're going to fight this battle for probably the next 5 to 10 years. Let's just be real for a second. This has been coming up for a long time, and every couple of months, something new comes up with this. In the end, I think consumers should know what they're buying and what their chances are of getting those things are. Mm-hmm. I don't think companies should be taking advantage of consumers and making them have to pay for a game that's advertised as free, or making them have to pay for things that are not advertised. And I think those are important consumer rights to have. But I also think it's a big stretch to go from those basic core beliefs to, well, now opening a Hearthstone pack is gambling. I think that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see.
And so you were talking about the petition earlier, Thyst, and so here's the actual wording of the petition. It's adapt gambling laws to include gambling in video games, which targets children. It's not about Overwatch in particular, but it's more about gambling laws. And I think that Overwatch was kind of tossed about as one of those games that could be included in this. And below the title of it, it says many video game companies in recent years have introduced mechanics which are essentially gambling, of which are targeted at children and vulnerable adults. And so right now, it stands.
Why'd you look at me when you said vulnerable adults, Pat? That was rude.
Hey,
okay.
Hey, right now it's at 13,000 signatures, just above that, and we won't actually. So Parliament will consider this. The petition will be considered for debate in Parliament at 100,000 signatures. So it's still got a ways to go here, guys. So don't worry. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but it's a concern, but it's not necessarily a thing that's going to be coming up in Parliament in anytime soon, as far as I can tell from the amount of signatures that are here. So I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
Stupid.
What else do we got for purely Overwatch here, Johnny?
You get some more free loot boxes with Twitch Prime.
Awesome. I like that.
They're actually live now. They are not Halloween loot boxes, though. So
but is it gambling if I open these?
Oh, jeez.
No, my brain get pleasure because I'm
ones.
gambling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tilted no.
Mm-hmm. Now, how are the mercy changes going?
You're creating a straw man here.
How are the mercy changes going in PTR?
So they are good. So Mercy has gone through 3 or 4 different changes in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And when you have a skill like a mechanic like resurrect in a game, it's natural that it's very polarized in how powerful it is. It's very difficult to get resurrect right there in the middle of powerful but not too powerful, which is where Blizzard likes to live with their balancing game. But they just pushed out a change just today, actually, where Valkyrie now adds an additional charge of resurrection that expires when Valkyrie expires. So there was basically ways where players were getting, 3 reses off within about 31 seconds,
right?
Which is a huge tempo swing. And then they removed that completely and put the resurrect timer off of Valkyrie so that even if you were doing your ult, that didn't reset. The problem with that was It kind of just felt meh. Again, unexceptional.
It's a little
pendulum
flat.
went back and forth. So they're trying this third way where you get this additional charge for a certain amount of time. Helps you kind of track your cooldowns, and it's a little bit more intuitive to track too. So I think it's a good change. I think that this will be the style of change they stick with Mercy. I don't know if they'll affect the timing, or they made it to where like she can now lunge past targets by jumping while going for using her left shift. And so, there's some other things they're doing that kind of affect it in a roundabout way. But I think as far as this charge idea, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a good change.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else Overwatchy happening?
That's it.
Okay.
Until, eSports.
I think, and we do have some stuff to talk about in eSports for sure. I think what I want to do is I want to jump to Heroes of the Storm because somebody just landed in game, I think.
Yeah, dipstick.
Is that right, Gizmo? Is Junkrat in now?
Yes. So Junkrat launched today. Yes. Along
I need to play Heroes like tonight.
It's really good.
Okay.
He's really fun. He took me about 5 games to get used to. He's a little difficult to play, but he launched along with the Hallow's End event. So from now until I'll have to look this up in a second. Till the end of the event, every time you level up and get a loot chest, it is going to be a Halloween event loot chest. And
Awesome.
They did switch it during the summer event. You still got these loot chests, but there was not a guaranteed drop for an event chest. So it was kind of frustrating. You could go, through, people were re-rolling a lot to try and get stuff. Sometimes you never get an event item. They have made it to where it is guaranteed a Halloween event, at least one item in that chest, which is awesome. Makes it feel so much better. But there's also some quests and stuff going along with that they've added in, makes them a lot easier. They did some quests for previous events where you had to play as a certain hero or play against a certain hero. Now they just want you to play games while the event's running. You can get a cartoon Headless Horseman spray, Hallow's End Warcrest banner, and a Headless Horseman portrait. I don't know how many games in total to play, but it's not too many. Okay. And this event is running until... I'm not seeing it. I don't know why.
All right.
November, I want to say November...
It's after BlizzCon, right? I mean,
yeah, it's like 11th or something like that.
I think it's the week after BlizzCon. I think you're right.
Oh,
yeah,
it's somewhere around there.
BlizzCon.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, but it's also just a big patch. There were some big changes to both Muradin and Zul'jin.
Mm-hmm.
And Muradin is OP right now, like ridiculous. I am getting top hero damage.
So your
he's
tweet.
Unkillable.
Yeah. Awesome.
So if you're looking to climb the ladder or something right now, grab Mura, practice him a few times, get in Hero League, and
He's pretty sweet.
climb.
I like him.
He feels really good, and I hadn't played him since 2.0 came out, so
okay.
Feels really good there. And then also, the EU Nexus Games are going to be starting November 14th.
Okay.
And this is they're taking teams from all the different countries in EU, HGC players excluded, to kind of find the best team in the EU, best country. So kind of like I haven't watched too much Overwatch World Cup stuff, but I imagine kind of like that, but just in the EU region.
Kind of like Mortal Kombat. Not the game, but like the
movie?
No, like the actual like IRL Mortal Kombat
that's a thing.
in
That's
the
an
other
actual
dimension.
thing.
Yeah, you don't know because you've never been invited probably.
Wow.
Huh? Well, there is a way to qualify for this. So it's going to go off of performance in Hero League in Season 3, 2017 till October 24th. You have to play a minimum of 75 games and have positive account standing.
That's a lot of Junkrat time right there.
It's a lot of Junkrat. And the positive account standing, that's also going to be something.
Oh,
So no salt, no toxicity. But no, most people will probably be fine. But Blizzard will make the final call on which players make the cut. And in the participating countries, there's 16 of them. I don't need to go through that whole list, but you can take a look at it. And it's going to be a group phase, 4 groups, 4 teams. And then playoffs are single elimination. It's going to be a best of 5 bracket. And again, that's kicking off on November 14th. So really cool to see them do this outside of the HGC, which some of the other games have done, but Heroes has not done yet.
All right. And I'm now we'll kick it back to a little bit of Hearthstone.
Oh, we're almost to my favorite part.
Now that was Chromie, but it's only because I don't have the new voice for Nemsy Necrofizzle. Nemsy Necrofizzle. Hey John, you have a show about Hearthstone. It's called Well Met.
We do,
don't you?
We do. Yes. Last I checked.
So Nemsy Necrofizzle, new warlock, and it's available now.
Yes, as of today, I believe. Okay. So all you have to do is join an existing fireside gathering and play one of the brawls there. So there's a couple confusing things about this. If you're like, oh, I'm going to do my own fireside gathering, that's great. You're going to have to do 2 of them before people can get these rewards. It has to be an established fireside. In order to be established, you have had to already have done 1 fireside gathering.
Okay.
So that's it. But as long as you play in the brawl, boom, you're done. Also, fun note, if you're going to be at BlizzCon, the con before the storm will have a fireside gathering right there. You can check right in, say hi to all of us, and get your non-lore specific Nemsy Necrofizzle.
Do they do that? So are they going to have that at the big Hearthstone area as well? Are they going to have a fireside there? I mean, my guess would be probably
at BlizzCon.
Yeah, at BlizzCon.
I would assume so. It's so weird because they've changed it since last year.
Sure.
With all the new fireside stuff where you actually like check in and you have your own cool little tavern thing.
Right.
Sam Benson from Kansas City, which I know the Zords are pretty good friends with. You know, he's one of like the best fireside or innkeepers in the game right now. We've had him on the show a few times. And so there's a check-in process, but presumably I would be shocked if while you're in the Hearthstone Tavern at BlizzCon, you can't get Nemsy. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's cool. It's weird because the first one, I forget, Morgul the Oracle was in WoW just as like a blah NPC, right? Like he didn't really have any lore behind him. And then went to Hearthstone. For some reason, somebody said it was the other way around, and it made me doubt myself.
So we actually had a really good question in chat room. Tiber asked, the con before the storm is an established fireside then? Or did they talk to Blizzard and said, we need this?
All I know is in the Con Before the Storm Discord, they've said very specifically that you will be able to earn that hero at Con Before the Storm.
Okay. All right.
So
that's good. Yeah. That's good.
So come by Con Before the Storm. It's a good time.
Well, yeah, and we're all going to be there. We're all going to be on different panels throughout the night. So just come on down.
We'll be on the same panel.
I wonder why they split us like. Well, not all of us, but
why didn't they put all the Convert to Raid crew on a panel?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it like the tension is too much, and what kind of tension is it?
Right. It must be the most amazing tension ever. I don't know.
I mean, probably.
You're leading him down a place right now.
A dark path.
I'm just trying to get him back.
Still live.
Last week.
Oh man! All right. Anything else from any of the games or anything BlizzCon related or whatever?
Right. They did say one thing with Hearthstone, and I'm not going to go into it deep here, but they changed and clarified a bunch of rules for how things happen, actions take place on the board, and it's really fascinating. I would say if you have any interest in Hearthstone at all, listen to your favorite Hearthstone podcast this week. We'll all be covering.
It's actually pretty cool, and it's kind of a cool read. But it is highly technical. So it's kind of one of those things where I think reading it would be great, or like in-depth discussion would be great. A show that's going to pass over it in about 2 minutes, probably not so great.
Yeah, it's a 30-second summary or a 20-minute conversation. There's no in between, but it's a big deal. Listen to your Hearthstone podcast this week.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go to some esports.
Let's jam.
Let's do it. So, John,
Hey.
let's talk Overwatch League real quick.
Yes.
Because we have team names, we have suspicions of team names, we've got, the whole Overwatch League is kind of shaping up. It's starting to form a little bit more. What are we seeing for teams right now?
So we're seeing quite a lot. So just to put this timeline into perspective, player signings are done October 30th or 31st. Then preseason starts December 10th, and then the official season starts January 6th. It might be December 6th and January 10th. But just for an idea, over the next couple months, it's going to be bam, bam, bam. So we're getting official rosters and official team names with official branding. And so far, we've had 3 revealed. We had Shanghai Dragons, which I believe I was here last time to talk about.
Yep.
Then we got the San Francisco, we got the Dallas Fuel.
Okay. Makes sense.
And now we have the San Francisco Shock. So
that
those
makes
are
sense
the
too.
3 confirmed franchises.
It's kind of interesting. Last week, I did a speculation article about San Francisco Shock because somebody on the competitive Overwatch subreddit went trolling through recent registered and applied trademarks for any sign of possible Overwatch League team names, and they found this one. So I didn't know if it was true, but it's kind of cool to see it come to fruition.
It makes total sense. I mean, all 3 team names are right. I mean, they define the place that they're from and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's good. I like it.
They're trying to, right? It's not quite as on the nose as like the Minnesota Twins with the Twin Cities and right. Stuff. It's a little, what I've said so far, and I mean this in a very, it's a very conflicted way, is it's a very MLS to me, Major League Soccer, in the sense that the branding is almost too good and a little bit. I don't want to. I don't know if I should say this on here.
Football League.
Yeah,
I put it like it just feels a little soulless to me.
I agree.
And
these names are dumb. Sorry.
They're just a little like but I'm trying to find ways, and I think Shanghai Dragons is cool.
Sure.
But Dallas Fuel, I don't really love. I don't really love San Francisco Shock.
Well,
WNBA-ish,
Well, I would totally say arena football. I mean, that's the type of stuff. Like the Fuel is definitely arena football. The Shock kind of reads more soccer-esque.
I'm fine with the Shock, and I think a big part of it too is just this is something new. Because think of the NFL. Sure. Right. The Kansas City Chiefs, the San Diego Chargers. I'm sure, when that stuff came out,
I'm trying to think of
that would be kind of weird.
The XFL would be more of
I'm just bummed out that this is the kind of like IRL sport trend. Like, did it really have to like cross over into esports? Like, couldn't it have been more like video game centric, like cool guild names and like cool phrases and like cool words and stuff spelt in different cool ways? This is an almost unprecedented league, and they're taking on I know it's because they have these big brands and big money behind it, and everybody's nervous and they want to keep these names safe and stupid. What are we gonna get next? The Wildcats?
Hey, my high school's Wildcats. What's wrong with that?
So exactly,
they're marketing
that's my point.
Yep.
They want to market to non-esports. They want to get the interest of non-esports fans. So if you kept, the name, like Cloud9 and Optic Gaming and stuff,
Envious?
That's gonna,
come on.
yeah. No, that's not gonna get people interested. They're gonna look at that and just be like, "Oh, this is."
I guess
what is this? I don't even know what that is. But this is these are actual team names.
Right.
I hope that doesn't continue though. I hope that esports on a massive setting like this can find its own identity and its own traditions rather than borrowing that from boring old IRL sports that nobody cares about.
And the other thing that they have to deal with is that these owners come from other sports. They're other, owners from other sports. So, I mean, of course you have to realized
Only
that
three, though. Only 3 of the 12 come from traditional sports.
That's a quarter of them. That's kind of a lot, isn't it?
But it is. But I actually agree with you, Pat.
They're modeling it. They're modeling it after real sports. They're trying to emulate that whole thing, and they're trying to make sure that they put off this well polished product.
And this is the key here, is because esports has largely failed on the franchising aspect, from merch, concessions, tickets, all around, right? And there's a lot of precedents, even with sports, right? So even, let's say the Minnesota Vikings, or let's use, my Minnesota sports history is great. So let's look at the Dallas Stars, formerly the Minnesota North Stars.
You had to bring
right?
that up,
They
didn't
moved.
you?
Right? I know. I'm still not ready for the LA Lakers.
Why don't you just give me 1,000 paper cuts and put lemon juice in it?
If you're called the Dallas Envious and you move or lose your spot, we're seeing this with LCS, you kind of uproot. The idea is to say there needs to be more investment from fans. And currently right now, brand identity isn't enough. The thing that has been missing from esports is not just brand identity, but geographic identity. And that's what they're trying to solve with this. And it's not because sports did it that way, and so we're going to do it too. We've been trying to do it the esports way, we're on the internet, we're everywhere way, for the past 10 years, and it hasn't worked.
Right. There's a lot of that.
To flip the script here, and that's why you're also seeing these 12 organizations allegedly invest $20 million a piece, right? So you're looking at 20 times 12, $240 million. Robert Kraft said that Activision Blizzard has invested over $500 million of their own money. So you're almost looking at $750 million just in the infrastructure to get esports caught up to where it needs to be, to catch that mainstream growth, and to basically jump the next 5 years of progressive growth in esports. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's what's bold. That's what's daring.
Right.
And I still think the names are kind of soulless. They're a little bit like when you make your own Madden Dynasty and you can make your own little helmet logo and come up with your own name and the announcer will say it. It's like kind of the drop down list of the 30 you have. I get that, but I think it's a little chicken and the egg too. Did the Dallas Cowboys, where they're like, oh, really? When that first became a thing, oh, really? Cowboys? That's what you guys are going with? And then they created this identity. Sure. They created this story. They created this image. And now it's amazing. And maybe just these off-brand sports that we try to compare it to just haven't done that. And that's what we need to happen.
Sure. Well, the last point I want to make about it, just kind of for a comparison, is I'm not a huge hockey fan. But we got a local, it's one of the farm teams for the NHL, but 5, 6, actually, I guess it's probably been 7 or 8 years ago now. We got a local team, the Missouri Mavericks. And while I'm not a big hockey fan, sometimes it's fun to go to those. It's a cool atmosphere. I even bought a Missouri Mavericks shirt that I have laying around somewhere. So I think that's where, especially once we get these arenas built, just for people to know about it and be like, hey, I'm going to go watch the San Francisco Shock this week at this arena. It's a really cool environment. Now you can go to the concessions and get the cups, San Francisco Shock cups, or just memorabilia for being there, and kind of grow it into that household thing. To whereas I think it's just these names are more applicable to that than going to watch.
There's definitely a lot more hype factor that goes along with going to your home team matches, no matter what it is. So that
definitely
part is definitely very cool. And I know that the projections for the Overwatch League are not necessarily all that favorable because of all the failings that have happened before, right? So everybody's kind of
failings of the hype,
right? And so it's kind of like everybody's trying to hype this thing up so that the investors kind of don't freak out, but the investors are already freaked out. So it will, but that's businessy type stuff. I'm just super psyched just in general. So that's that.
I'm really excited. Not everything has been perfect how I imagined it. Nothing is like, we got the announcement of Overwatch League at BlizzCon last year, almost exactly a year. They said BlizzCon or Overwatch League was coming in 2017. Little did we know that means that we got 3 weeks of a preseason at the end of December. Like I pegged it out. I guess July was when we're going to see a preseason. And then the beginning of BlizzCon is when we're going to see the first real season. It wasn't far off. We ended up getting Overwatch Contenders and Overwatch Open Division.
Right.
There's just so much more going into Overwatch eSports. And I don't think Overwatch League is a very fair umbrella to put that all under, because Overwatch Contenders happens 3 times a year with $100,000 prize pools in 2 different regions. That's huge for AAA ball, basically.
Right.
And so there's just a lot more going on, and I get why investors are tepid. They've got only 12 teams. When you looked at the initial teaser of all the different geographic locations, it looked like 25, 30 people, and now we're dealing with 12 people. Season 0 and Season 1 are going to be in LA at the Blizzard Arena.
Which looks cool.
There's a lot of.
Oh yeah,
it looks amazing.
That place looks
amazing,
so sweet. So,
but it's very different than what I think it ended up getting hyped up to be. And I think part of it was I don't think they saw the initial investment, especially from mainstream sports buyers, that they wanted. But I also know, too, that there were some teams that essentially came up with the money and they were turned away because of some of the long-term goals of the league. And that's, for me, that's a good thing. If you can afford to have a team come up to you and give you a $20 million check and you'd be like, I don't think you're really a right fit. That's a sign of health and belief in the league. And I think that's a good thing that people should be taking from this too. It's just because it's not happening on the time schedule that we were initially promised might not mean it's as profitable as quickly as we all thought. But yeah, I do think it stays to that commitment to success. And what Blizzard does so well is that patience of, if it doesn't feel right, don't ship it. Titan, right? If it doesn't feel right, don't ship it. Here's Overwatch. Here's $750 million worth of infrastructure for an esports league. As long as you don't, I think it'll
pay off in the long run, no matter what.
Screw it up. Yeah.
No matter what, I think it's going to pay off. So that's cool. So I know that we talked a lot about Overwatch League, which is cool because it's all coming up and it's all brand new and it's all just, everybody's kind of freaking out about it. Either you're super psyched about it or you're kind of like, I really don't want to deal with this. But either way, people have opinions about Overwatch League, and especially with the anticipation for the first season, it's brewing. It's brewing.
I'm really excited, anxious.
Right. In other esports, however, you know what I saw this weekend, John?
What did you see, Pat?
You know what I saw this weekend? While I was doing things for the CTR Party Kickstarter, we were watching a little HCT Summer Championship.
Ooh.
We were watching that on the big screen as people were packing stuff up, and Mage of Death was helping us out, and he was very, very distracted. He couldn't really help us out all that well because he was into it. And if you know Mage, he is into Hearthstone, and he was almost like inside the TV.
Hey, he got that legendary status not too long ago.
I know he really did. So it was pretty cool though. We were watching some really great matches, and it looked good. What's the summary of this?
So yeah, we had the HCT Summer Championship this past week, and Surrender from South Korea was the winner, who two of our hosts on our show predicted as being one there. We've seen him in the past in a couple of different leagues and a couple of other.
It wasn't purple or orange. I don't know.
It wasn't, and no colors.
No colors. No
yeah.
colors won.
But they did call it Orange, who is my pick, got second. Did qualify for the World Championships. So that, I feel really good about that. We're going to hang out this week at BlizzCon.
I just find it funny that one's purple and one's orange. And I'm like, okay.
I like purple.
Yeah.
Purple's
color.
name used to be Purple Drank. And it was just a little too off color, no pun intended.
Sure.
For
right on color.
So they made him change it to that, just like Hot Meowth used to be a different M word that isn't banned by Blizzard but is now. So like they kind of say you gotta jazz that up. Even with FNRGFE, one of the Overwatch teams, they had a corn dog with a dog face for their logo, and they're like, no, you can't use that. And somebody at Blizzard actually made them a professionally designed corn dog with face of dog.
Awesome.
I'm actually a little familiar with that. They don't seem to like lagging balls that much for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, we don't mind going by the LB podcast, but like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Right.
Yeah, they're just very. It comes down to that inclusivity, diversity. It's how important is the name of your team and the imagery of your team versus the people.
I guess not everybody lags, so that makes sense.
Right.
I get it now.
That's right.
But everyone has balls. So
wait, what?
Not Let me tell you.
Learn something new every day. All right.
And then, just as a friendly reminder, the HCT finals will not be played at BlizzCon. They're going to be in Amsterdam, January 18th through the 21st.
Lovely Amsterdam in the middle of winter.
Yeah. So we had the Bahamas, we had Shanghai.
Why wouldn't they do Bahamas in the winter?
Yeah.
Come on.
Cheaper flights.
These nerds need some tan, some sun, some vitamin D.
Something.
So that's going to be going on, but this is also a new trend we're seeing where, both Overwatch and Hearthstone specifically will not be having their big world championship tournaments at BlizzCon, which has been kind of what has happened in the past. We have Overwatch World Cup. We have is it the Tavern versus Tavern thing that's going on for Hearthstone for eSports there? And like Last Call or something like that. So there's still like great tournaments and great live sports to be played, but it's not like, so I want to watch the World Series, the Stanley Cup, or the NBA Finals today.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of nice.
It's it's tough. I know that, in years past at BlizzCon, it's always like one of those things, which esport do you want to watch? And of course, last year was Overwatch because Overwatch.
If you could get in.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get in, but everybody wanted to get in. So, and this year, I think it'll probably be Overwatch.
Heroes. Oh, shit.
Wow.
I like Heroes. Don't get me wrong. And actually, 2 years ago, it was impossible to get a seat at Heroes. It was impossible. I managed to only get one because I was sitting on the floor for an hour, and then somebody left, and I snagged their seat real quick.
Snagged it.
Yep.
Nice.
So
Have the seat, snagger.
Yep. That's me. Anything else? Esports. Thyst, you work at DoubleTap.com, and so you probably was there anything that we missed?
No, but it's pretty cool. There's in the wake of all these names being announced, and people are just like trolling the internet trying to figure out like what the next name might be. Like there's a few I think like the New York Excelsior or something like that, and the Los Angeles Gladiators. Like those are like some speculation names. We've had some people like make mock-ups of like teams they'd like to see. Like a really cool Canadian graphic designer put up this the Toronto Tempest or something, and like designed a Pharah skin and designed a logo and like came up with the colors and stuff. It was pretty cool. And it was actually kind of bittersweet because I was really hoping for Canada to make a team for the first year, but whatever, it's fine. We'll get there. It's cold. We're a little slow, but we can do it. We can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
We can.
All right. Yes.
I have one thing I forgot to put in the notes that has popped up. So for the HGC at BlizzCon,
yes.
Prior to BlizzCon, there will be the group stages starting October 26th.
Yes.
Those groups are out, and I just want to give a quick update. As far as the North American teams, it's going to be pretty tough, I think, for them to make it out of group stages because they're only taking the top 2 teams from each group. Tempo Storm is going to have to face MVP Black, which is a Korean team, CE, which is a Chinese team, and Deadly Kittens, which I don't remember. I think they might be China as well. Team Freedom going up against Fnatic is the big name there, so I think they probably have the best chance. And Roll20 is facing Team Dignitas and Tempest, which Tempest is another Korean team in their group. So it's going to be pretty tough for them to make it out. But we'll see, and hopefully
it should be interesting to actually kind of watch all that stuff play down as we get really ready for BlizzCon in the final, because that starts the 26th. You said,
yeah, the 26th, and so there's the chance that we will not see a North American team on stage at BlizzCon, which would be a shame. So
that
hopefully
would be a shame.
That
would be a shame.
Would be surprised.
But. Oh, there you have it. All right, well, we are going to get out of here, but before we do, I'm going to play that music, number 1. And then we'll go around the room and see what's going on your various shows and other things. I don't know, maybe you're doing a cool stream or, I don't know, whatever. Gizmo, what do you got coming up on tomorrow's show for Lords of the Storm?
Oh, tomorrow we're going to be covering, of course, a little bit of Junkrat and the patch notes, as well as the Halloween event. And then leading up to BlizzCon, the next week will be kind of a Junkrat Hero of the Week, as well as covering some stuff that's happening in group stages. And the week before, the last week, there is only 2 weeks left, isn't there?
There's only 2 weeks?
I don't remember how many shows we have left, but somewhere...
yes.
We're squeezing in a BlizzCon kind of prediction episode, and we're gonna have some special guests. I think
that should be next week for us, by the way.
For next week.
So next week, bring your predictions if you have them, because next week is the last week before BlizzCon for this show, because we do the show on Tuesdays, and I'll be leaving for California on Tuesday the 31st on a Halloween, flying out to LA to see all the freaks.
Yeah,
out there.
Freaks.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
I mean, it's Halloween. It's Halloween, and it's LA, so it's a little bit of both.
We may be lagging some balls on one of our episodes talking about BlizzCon. Who knows? I don't know. You'll have to show up. It's on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm at 9 p.m. on Wednesday nights.
All right, awesome. Johnny, you got a couple of shows. You got something coming up on those?
Yes, so you've got wellmet.blizzbro.com. You can find it Mondays, 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/BlizzBro. I'm interviewing Ryan Musselman.
Oh, that's right.
The COO of Optic Gaming tomorrow. And that will be on the feeds for the Payload, which records live typically Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/BlizzBro. As well. And so that's going to be really cool. Optic Gaming owns the Houston branch of Overwatch League or franchise. And so I get to ask him some really cool questions about that. And so I'll be sitting down with him tomorrow, editing and hopefully having that episode out sometime tomorrow. Then, of course, TwitchCon this week. If you're going to be there, come say hi.
Right on. Right on. And Thyst, you've got the podcast and the LB stream, right? So what's going on with those coming up? Do you know?
No, I have no idea. Last LB stream we set out to talk about rating. We ended up talking about 90s Batman movies, so I couldn't tell you. But
what's your favorite 90s Batman movie?
Batman Returns.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
Yeah. But we went into this whole thing about how like the character of Chase Meridian in Batman Forever was like one of the best female characters of all time. But I won't get into it because I don't know anything about movies. But the LB podcast, the Lagging Balls podcast, we are giving away 4 virtual tickets to BlizzCon. So if you would like to figure out how to sign up for that, check out laggingballs.com or Lagging Balls on Twitter or Facebook.
Right
or,
on.
Wherever. Yeah.
Right on. That's very, very cool. And like I said, next week is going to be our last show before BlizzCon, so we'll try to come up with something special for next week.
Halloween costumes.
And then
topless episode.
And then it'll be BlizzCon, and all kinds of madness will happen. And so everybody will be happy. I'm going to bail on this, and then I'm going to start up that one. There we go. And for you guys, you can join in on the madness anytime. You can email us, converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call and leave hype comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can join the Bazuba Guabo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com, where we have show downloads, Discord infos, videos, audios, guild stuff, and a lot more. All over at converttoraid.com. Don't forget about that Etsy store if you still want patches or the adult style coloring book, not adult themed coloring book.
Can you make an adult themed coloring book, please?
Well, maybe next year. Converttoraid.etsy.com for that stuff. We're also on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And Convert to Raid is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out all of our friends on the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. That's going to be it for the show. Thanks, guys. Long show as we get ready for BlizzCon. Thank you, Twitch chat room, for joining us as well. And thank you, whether you're in the car or at home, no matter where you are, thank you so much for listening. We hope you had a great time. And we'll see you for our final show before BlizzCon next week. So excited. All right, and for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.